Yeah, welcome to this video about the Biel tournament, which has just started yesterday in Biel, Switzerland, and we've got a nice, interesting, field of players there. It's a six-player event, which will be a double round robin, so all play all 2 times. And we've got Magnus Carlsen playing, the world's #1. Hikaru Nakamura of the US, always interesting chess from him, so very nice. Then Alexander Morozevich from Russia, who's always a welcome addition to any tournament because he's such a creative player. You never know what you get, yeah. It's quite like this line from Forrest Gump, yeah. A box of chocolates, but you never know what you're gonna get. He's playing brilliantly at times and very weird at other occasions, so interesting player. Then we've got Wang Hao from China, I think China's #1 player, also quite an enterprising player. And then we've got Bacrot from France, who's I think maybe a little bit of an underestimated player. He's 2,700 something for ages, and he earns it mostly due to big open tournaments where it's not at all easy to keep such a high rating. And then we also got Anish Giri from the Netherlands, one of the top junior players, already 2,700 elo at age. Now I need to think. I think it's turning 18 this year, so great talent. And I didn't do anything on the first round. Yesterday I simply didn't have the time. There were also interesting games. The first round we had a draw between Carlson and Nakamura, where Magnus was maybe very slightly better, but didn't materialize. It wasn't anything substantial. We had Wang Hao beating Bacrot, an interesting fighting King's Indian. And Morozevich lost with white against Giri, who just had won the Dutch championship, which is not a weak tournament. He had won the Dutch championship with I think 6 out of 7 or something, with a huge score. So I think he seems to be in good shape. So, but let's get right to the second round played today, and this also had interesting games. We had a draw between Nakamura and Giri, and 2 decisive games between Carlsen and Wang Hao, and also Bacrot versus Morozevich. So let's get to these games. I'll start with Carlsen Wang Hao, and Magnus playing d4, and we gotta get a Nimzo here, which Carlsen replies to Queen c2, castles. Yeah, and here the by far most popular move is just a3. And then we get something along this, like playing b6 here or d5, just the main line here of the Queen c2. But Magnus plays something else. He plays knight f3, which is a sideline. He very often employs those somewhat semi-common moves to really play chess early and not so much get into theoretical battle. Wang Hao now plays b6, which I think is quite a surprise. I was surprised when I looked this up later in the database that this is actually a move that has been played quite a lot by even really good players, because at first sight I would say it's just a mistake, this move, but it is played. The main move here is by far c5, which normally continues along this here, and then it continues further. White can play g3 or c6 is an interesting move here. This is championed by Morozevich. Played this a couple of times. But okay, Wang Hao went for b6 here. And this allows e4, and this is why I'm surprised that this move is playable, because you really should try to prevent white from setting up this huge center here. But maybe it's playable. Okay, he went bishop, no, c5. Okay, this is another deviation here, which actually leads to a different kind of position than bishop b7, which is in a sideline the more common move. Usually it continues like this here. And oh no, this is a mistake, sorry. Bishop d3, and then now c5, I guess. Well, this is this bishop b7 has been played more often. Oh no, it's d5. Sorry, I'm confused here. It's d5. I butchered the move order here. d5, e5, knight e4, bishop b3, and bishop b7. This has been played a couple of times, but also looks very nice for white, if you ask me. So quite a strange opening choice by Wang Hao. He went c5 now, which Magnus answered with a quick e5, which is quite strong, I think. And now black retreated to e8. He had the alternative to capture on d4, but this is very nice for white, with more than one possible way to get an advantage. The simple way would be just to take here and play this move. Yeah, black's rook here is attacked on a8, so he needs to do something about this. This is the only way to save it. And now white can take, and it's not so good to capture on c6. Black gets lots of developing, but he can just develop a piece himself, and white is better here with this this strong pawn on. Oops, let's make the screen with this pawn here on e5. This is a very nice spearhead, and the knight on e8 is just a sorry piece. So this is one possibility if black would on e5 capture on d4, but he played knight e8. Yeah, now Magnus just played d5, grabbing this huge center here with this pawn duo here. Very nice. So white has a nice space advantage. Okay, black plays this capture here and d6 to get his bishop out here and attack the center. Bishop g5 is quite a logical answer, just attacking the queen. And well, black has doesn't have any good moves with this queen, so he plays f6, which also helps getting the knight here back into play. On e8 it wasn't a great piece, but one thing which is apparent here, white has also got this nice pin here on the queen, and he will play bishop d3 at some point and then set up this battery on the king side. Black only has got those two kingside pawns at the shelter for his king, and he's quite weak. Yeah? e6 is weak, this whole white squares, and now we've got a nice picture here. Maybe I can sell this as modern art. Yeah, well, black has a weak king side, and we'll see that in the game exploited very nicely. Okay, here Magnus just castled long, getting the king out of the center and yeah, getting development going. White is also just better developed here. Okay, he captured now, because it was also a possibility, if black doesn't capture, that white simply moves the knight. Let's say black would make sort of a semi-move, something like this here. Then you need to reckon with stuff like this here, or maybe even this. And well, this bishop here runs, just points into thin air now, and is maybe even, yeah, in danger of getting trapped at some point. Not immediately, but it's an option. So he decided to immediately capture this knight. Makes sense, I guess. And now develop this bishop. Yeah, the problem with this move is this bishop didn't have a good square really. And here on g4, the only purpose on g4 really is to take on f3, and this happens in the game. You see what kind of position yeah, black is getting. To be honest, I think black is already yeah, in some trouble here. If you look at it with the computer, and the computer actually assesses this as about equal, but I don't agree. I think black is really in trouble in the long run. I mean, maybe a computer is very cool in defending, obviously. It's got no nerves, but black really gets into some defensive troubles here. We'll see. Yeah, rook e1 first, a good move to control the open file. And maybe threaten to move this knight, so he gets out of the pin. If white would be able to move the knight away, then he might chase the bishop with all kinds of moves, and the knight might go to c4. So black is sort of forced into capturing here, or at least tempted to do so. And here, well, we see a very interesting and uneven position, where white has an absolutely awful structure. I mean, everything's isolated, looks like Swiss cheese here, this pawn structure. But he's got brilliant bishops. This one has got a nice pin going. This bishop is going here. Black's position is really full of holes, and white has got the g file. So I think white is very, very much to be preferred here. So we see what happens. Knight bd7, bishop d3, just threatening here, using the pin on the knight f6, and black is provoked to move this pawn. Okay, and this of course is a point of attack now. This h6 pawn. White retreats, attacking both pawns here. And c4. Yeah, very understandable. Black wants to distract white a bit and activate his knight. Of course, white doesn't take on c4. This doesn't make much sense to give black the open c-file. He just plays here and gets this idea into the game. Bishop e6, knight c5, and rook g1. Yeah, I think this is a position that, well, maybe a computer can hold this, but for human against, the world's #1 player, it's just useless. This smells like execution, and Magnus does a nice job here. King h8, rook g6, piling up on h6, rook f7. Yeah, and here he plays a good move, rook to g1. But in this position, there was actually a even more forceful move, but it was difficult really to calculate this. In this position, white already had the possibility to capture on h6. This was playable. I'm not quite sure. Maybe he didn't calculate this correctly. Rook g1 was perfectly fine. I just want to show it because it can lead to nice lines. Black captures here, take here, and now black actually is forced to play this move, and this obviously is something that that looks nice for white. But now looking at this position, it's maybe not so super clear. Black will play something like this here, and maybe he has some chances to defend this. The thing is, white has won 2 pawns here, but the pawns are so bad that white has, and it's no mate. It's no mate. Maybe this isn't so clear. Yeah, it's possible that he saw this but rejected it. I think the tricky line wasn't knight h7 but king g8. This was the line which surprised me, that this is actually completely winning.
Check.
Rook g1 here, and here check. Quite a nasty check. Takes on g7, king takes, queen here, and this is completely winning for white. He's just got a winning attack. I don't know, maybe he didn't calculate this correctly, or he rejected this because of the other line. where white has got 2 extra pawns, but it's not winning immediately. What he did was absolutely fine. He just played rook g1 and putting more pressure on this. I mean, this is usually a very good strategy. If you have got such an overwhelming position, you should look really for a completely, yeah, devastating strike, not just an extra pawn, but really trying to push black off the board here. And he maybe just wanted to increase the pressure even more. Very possible. Queen f8 was played to get more cover on g7. Bishop to e3, and this is a move I like very much. Of course, on f4, this bishop always had this possibility, but on d4, it's just a brilliant piece, striking down this long diagonal and really getting everything on the king. I mean, really on this diagonal, the bishop is just perfect. I like this bishop e3 a lot. I think it's a very good move. Knight d5, and now he played bishop d4. In this position also bishop h6 was a possibility, and also white could have taken on c5, which is the materialistic way of playing. you can go something like this here, but maybe this wasn't enough for white. This kind of position here,
check.
If you look at this, is possibly, I mean, white is certainly winning, but maybe this actually wasn't enough for him. Stuff like this maybe. Okay, what he did was just yeah, sort of clinical way to play it. He just played this move, knight back to cover this, and then queen e2, intending to shift the queen over. Black cannot possibly hold this. It's just too much. All pieces on the king is too much. Black played rook e8 here, and now rook g7. White strikes here. The idea being, he played queen here. Queen takes g7, but idea of course with if the rook takes, then you
check.
Grab here, and I think it's even a checkmate in a couple of moves. Let's say here,
check.
Yeah, everything's pinned here. Yeah, this already is a mate with queen f6. So he couldn't take with the rook, so he needed to take with the queen. And now white just grabbed the queen, retakes, and queen f4. Yeah, the queen joins the attack, possibly intending checks here or here even. On g4, it's a pin after all, a very strong one. And white also threatens this pawn. It's still a huge attack, and these bishops really are raging down the board very nicely. So
check.
Black decides to get rid of one of the bishops. Needs to take, of course. And now just simply king d2. White wants to get rid of this pawn, and then he's got an extra pawn and this dominating bishop, with black's king just being terribly open here. And yeah, it works nicely for white now. h4 is another strong move, using everything in the attack. Yeah, pawns are attacking units also, and this h-pawn is quite a strong attacking unit. We see immediately black plays rook e7, and note that both players were really slow down on time.
Check.
And now the strong move h5. This is really nice. Not difficult to see, but still nice. If black would take with the knight now, then
check.
there's simply this move with a check, and white wins the knight next move. Yeah, if he takes with the king, then yeah, white can just take here if he wants, or first
check.
this check is also not bad at all.
Check.
And here I'll be picking up all black's pieces. So this is just winning. He cannot take on h5. Needed to retreat. And then the queen enters the picture. Black played rook e5, trying to sack exchange here.
Check.
But white can first give this check and play a stronger move than taking the exchange. Just f4. And this is just devastating. The rook is attacked by a pawn now. And where should it go? If you go rook f5, this this looks a bit artificial, and at least this is possible. Rook takes f5 check. King needs to go here to keep the rook protected, and then f4, and white wins the rook. Yeah, very nice attacking display. After f4 here, Wang Hao resigned. Yeah, a very nice fight also between structure for black and dynamics for white. But I mean, the pawn structure is nice to have, but if you've got all your pieces on the king, it's just it's just not possible to play in such a way. Hard to pinpoint where black exactly went wrong, but if you ask me, this kind of structure here is just terrible. Even if the computer says it's fine, but I don't believe it. Yeah, so Magnus with a win today, going into the lead in this tournament. But this wasn't the only interesting game today. The other decisive game was Bacrot against Morozevich, and I'll show you this one. And if you like the Carlsen game, if you like attacking chess, you like the Carlsen game, I guess. But look at this. This is really a roller coaster ride here. Okay, Bacrot plays d4, and we've got a Semislav triangle setup with e6 and c6. And I think this is a very interesting move order for black. It's only got one drawback really, and this is the move e4. Which interestingly, it's not played so often. I think white players often shy away from this move. It involves a pawn sacrifice, and it's not like people don't want to sack pawns once in a while, but this is really a super complicated line, and it's very hard to memorize the stuff, especially considering that this triangle setup for black isn't played so often. So you need to learn really lots of stuff for a line that you probably don't get so often in your games. So let's see what happens. Moro grabbed on e4 and played this check, and now we see this pawn sack. White could retreat the knight, but this is somewhat of a wimpy move in a way. It's not bad, but it's not the idea of all this. The idea is to play this bishop d2 move. Here, black really doesn't have much of a choice. He could capture on d2, but this should be quite nice for white. Still, this c8 bishop is an issue, and white has a nice center here. So the thing is, on bishop d2, black grabs the pawn on d4, the juicy central pawn. But what's the consequence? White takes on b4, and black grabs the knight. So here white has two moves, knight e2, bishop e2, and he goes bishop e2 now. So let's take stock for a while. What does white have for his pawn? He's got an immensely strong bishop here, which makes it very, very hard for black to ever castle. Black's very weak on the dark squares. Those squares are quite a problem. And black has got this weird queen on e4, which can be an object of attack, where white wins even more tempi for his attack, but also can somehow disrupt white. This whole line is very hotly debated. It's very difficult to come to a conclusion. In a recent book by Grandmaster Ruslan Sherbakov about the triangle system, he analyzed this line for a very long time, on, I don't know, close to 100 pages or something, and it's really hard to to get grabs onto this. Very difficult. Morozevich now played knight a6, which is one of the main moves, maybe the most popular one. Here white even has got some alternatives. He can he plays this move, but he can play some other stuff. Also possible is this here with the not too subtle threat queen d8 mate. White even has got the funny option of playing this move. It's quite nice. If you never saw this, it looks quite funny. There are stories about players being asked, what the hell are you doing? You need to put a black bishop on f8. Yeah, the idea, of course, being if you black takes, then
checkmate.
It's a checkmate on d8. And of course, yeah, simply this pawn is threatened. Okay, I don't want to make a theoretical lesson about this, just to show bishop f8 because it's a funny move. He went went to d6, which is certainly logical, still preventing short castle, and also if black should castle long, this piece alone is just great. I mean, I would absolutely never play this as black, but maybe a matter of taste also. Okay, so Moro now grabbed on g2, which is super risky. There are other possibilities, but okay, I don't want to go so much into the theoretical stuff here. White now plays queen d2, and yeah, well, wait a minute. What about the rook on h1? Yeah, black actually cannot take the rook. If you would do so, white can play long castle, and the problem is here white threatens the simple move. Oops, no, this way. Bishop f3, and the queen is trapped. So black cannot play, let's say, something like this here. You just get your queen trapped. And if black wants to sort of evacuate this piece, then white plays this funny move. And, well, this is checkmate. No way for black to prevent this. Besides some silly stuff like, I don't know, queen d5 or something. Black has just made it here. So what this means is black cannot grab the rook. He played the interesting move e5 here. Sort of, yeah, giving back a pawn, possibly on e5, but opening up the diagonal for the bishop. White grabbed this, and black played bishop f5. Quite logical. Yeah? This bishop now also has got a good position. White gained a tempo here on the queen. Queen went back, didn't have any other squares, and now long castle. So you can see that white really has compensation for the pawn, no doubt about it. He's still got strong bishops, and let's put the next moves on the board. Knight c5. Yeah, probably intending stuff like this. Queen e3. Yeah, and now if you look at this kind of stuff on g7, and white really has a really nice initiative. Morozevich now plays really, yeah, ambitious. Is yeah, it's very ambitious. He played bishop b1, just threatening mate in one move. And okay, white needs to attend to this. Covers, and now black grabbed on a2. So a very cheeky way to play this. Of course, in the meantime, also menacing stuff like this and this here. So white needs to react to this, of course.
Check.
He gave this check. Yeah, and what should black do? This knight is also hanging, and you cannot move the king, so you need to drop the knight back. And now white can play bishop e4, covering this sensitive square where the mate was threatened. Queen h6 and f4. Yeah, and now white has got 4 pawns, black 6, so white has sacrificed 2 pawns. But of course he's still super active here. If you give this to the computer, it tells you about that this position is around equal. Yeah, and this is already a sure sign that black has problems. In a position where black is 2 pawns up, the computer says it's equal. This is very suspicious. He tried to develop a piece at least, knight f6 and knight f3, speeding up your own development. And black grabbed another pawn, so 3 pawns now. And well, the problem is simply you've got a king in the middle, and you cannot evacuate this piece. If you would castle long, you've got a7 also hanging, and short castle. Well, this is against the rules of the game. It's just very difficult to defend this position. But one thing, look at the clocks. Bacrot 5 minutes left and Morozevich 37 minutes. So white didn't have much time. Still, rook e1. Improving the position further. All pieces should join the attack. And black castled long now. Yeah, and here white really with 5 minutes on the clock decided to strike. He just took on c6. Really a strong move, but also a move that actually allows black now to draw the game in a way. What black now did is he played bishop a6, but black had the opportunity. He could also just take here the obvious move, and then after queen a7, black could play rook takes d6. And here I think white needs to be content with the draw. White can draw here with queen a8 check, king c7. You cannot go here.
Check.
This check leads to mate at the end even. You must believe me, I don't want to put it on the board. It's just a complete disaster. King c7 and then queen a7, and it really is the draw. If you would go here, you allow this check, so black goes here, and you have a perpetual check here. So black with taking on c6, the simple move taking on c6, could have drawn the game, but he played bishop a6, and well, now white really gets going here. He plays knight g5, and he played this with really low time on the clock, and this move now is winning the game. Black is not able to save the position now. Whatever he plays, he will be mated, or black will lose vast amounts of material. What he did play at the end is to capture on g5. It didn't make much difference, and the clock is also weird here. Of course, he didn't overstep the time. Yeah, but now look at this position. It's really quite funny. You have those two nice bishops, and white has got this tremendous power on the central files. So just oops, I think I hit the wrong buttons here. I wanted to get rid of the arrows. Look at this position. I give you a couple of seconds. I'll stop the video for a couple of seconds to look for a good move for white here. I'll let a couple of seconds pass here. Don't tell you the move, and see this as a nice kind of exercise. All right, I show it now. White now played bishop d7 check, and this is of course very, very nice to the eye, giving a check on a square which is defended by the rook, by the knight and the king, and whatever black does, it's checkmate at the end. Very nice. He took in the game. He took with the king, but if he takes with the knight, you simply have this check here. And well, what black can do those kind of silly desperados. and at the end it's mate on e7, quite nice. So he cannot take with the knight. So the other line, if you take with the rook,
check,
check here, king here, check on e7. Yeah, note the rook here. Black cannot take on e7. King moves here.
Check.
Rook.
Checkmate.
And checkmate. Also quite nice. So yeah, this bishop b7 move really was a hammer blow. Black needed to take here. I mean, okay, it's mate anyway, but he took with the king. He took with the king, and then
check.
Queen e7 check. King here.
Check.
Check here, and now Morozevich resigned in view of king b5 only move.
Check.
Check.
Checkmate.
And queen b4 check. So white really flushed the black king out in the open and gave checkmate here on b4. So this move, bishop b7,
check.
was really nice. Very aesthetically pleasing move. But of course, quite weird here that Morozevich, with lots of time on the clock, didn't see knight g5. Obviously, he could have simply drawn the game with taking on c6 here. I mean, simply, I think it for a player of such a class, it's pretty easy to calculate. This is a draw, and yeah, certainly he wanted, after losing yesterday, you wanted to try something in this game, but okay, at one point, there's a point in each game where you need to be honest to yourself. You can just draw and then you need to do it. There's no way to do otherwise. Or maybe it was a gamble on white's time travel, I don't know. But it allowed a very nice mating finish here. Yeah, alright, so we had a look at those two games of today. I hope you enjoyed it. Quite some cool attacking chess, I would say. Yeah, I'll be doing some more stuff on Biel in the next coming days, but I maybe due to work restraints and other things, maybe not be able to do it every day. But if there are some interesting games, I'll make sure that they'll be on the channel anyway. Alright, thanks for watching, and see you soon, and talk to you soon in a new video.